What if one unexpected moment on a phone screen was enough to reopen a chapter that everyone thought was finally closed? Justin Bieber has moved on. Selena Gomez has built a completely different life. Hailey Bieber has her own marriage, her own career, and her own world. Yet whenever Selena's name appears anywhere near Justin, the internet immediately starts asking the same question. Is the past really gone? Or is it still somewhere inside the present? That question exploded again after online speculation began circulating about Hailey allegedly becoming upset after seeing images of Selena Gomez on Justin Bieber's phone. Now, before we go any further, there is an important distinction to make. There is no confirmed public evidence establishing that Hailey actually confronted Justin over Selena photos on his phone. The story has circulated as an online rumor, and many versions of it add details that have not been independently verified. But that hasn't stopped fans from dissecting every possible angle. Because when it comes to Justin, Selena, and Hailey, the history is complicated enough that even a simple image can become a major internet conversation. And that's exactly where the story gets interesting. For years, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez were one of the most talked about young celebrity couples in the world. Their relationship became a huge part of pop culture history, with fans following every appearance, every breakup, every reunion, and every cryptic social media moment. Then came Hailey Bieber. Justin and Hailey eventually got married, and the relationship moved into a completely different chapter. But because Justin's relationship with Selena had already become such a massive public story, Hailey entered a situation where comparisons were almost impossible to escape. That doesn't necessarily mean those comparisons reflected reality, but online perception can become its own kind of story. And that is why the idea of Selena's images appearing on Justin's phone immediately triggered so much speculation. Imagine being in Hailey's position. You are married to someone whose previous relationship was followed by millions of people. You know that almost every mention of his ex can bring another wave of headlines. You know fans still debate their history years later. And then, supposedly, you see an image of that person on your husband's phone. Even if the image means absolutely nothing, the emotional reaction could still be complicated. Was it an old photo? A saved memory? A screenshot? Something connected to work? Something sent by someone else? Or simply an image that happened to remain on a device? Without verified evidence, nobody can honestly say. And that's where many online stories go too far. Instead of asking what is confirmed, they immediately jump to the most dramatic explanation. But the real story isn't necessarily about one photo. It's about the enormous shadow that celebrity relationships can leave behind. Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez's relationship existed during a period when both were growing up under intense public attention. Their relationship was repeatedly photographed, analyzed, and discussed. Every breakup became a headline. Every reunion became a headline. Every song became a clue. Every Instagram post became evidence for some theory. And because their relationship lasted through multiple chapters, the public became deeply invested in the idea that they were somehow connected. When Justin eventually married Hailey, some fans struggled to let that storyline disappear. For Hailey, that created a unique challenge. She wasn't simply marrying a famous singer. She was marrying someone whose past relationship had become part of internet culture. And even years later, people continued placing the two women against each other. That is one reason stories involving Hailey and Selena can become enormous online, even when the original claim is extremely thin. A single picture can suddenly be interpreted as jealousy. A social media post can become a hidden message. A facial expression can become proof of anger. And silence can somehow become evidence of everything. But real relationships don't work like that. People can have memories without wanting to return to them. People can have old photographs without emotional attachment. And people can acknowledge someone's past without threatening their present. That's something the internet often forgets. Still, there is another reason this particular rumor grabbed attention. Fans have spent years wondering whether Justin's past with Selena has any emotional relevance to his present life. That's an impossible question for outsiders to answer. Only Justin and the people closest to him know what memories still matter to him. And even then, having memories doesn't automatically mean wanting the past back. That's an important distinction, because online discussions often turn history into competition. Who was better? Who was more important? Who looked happier? Who moved on first? Who still cares? But those questions reduce complicated human relationships into a scoreboard. And that's exactly what has happened repeatedly with Selena and Hailey. The two women have often been placed into opposing camps by internet users, even though they have their own lives and identities outside of Justin Bieber. Selena has built a successful career in music, television, beauty, and entrepreneurship. Hailey has developed her own public identity and business career while building a family life with Justin. Yet online discussions frequently drag both women back into the same old triangle. And perhaps that's the most frustrating part of this entire rumor. Because whether the alleged phone incident happened or not, it demonstrates how difficult it can be for celebrities to escape their own history. For normal people, an old picture might simply be an old picture. For celebrities, it can become a headline. A screenshot can circulate across thousands of accounts. A short video can receive millions of views. A rumor can be repeated so many times that people eventually forget where it started. And that's why caution matters. There is a huge difference between people online are claiming this happened and this definitely happened. At the moment, the first statement is what can responsibly be said. The second would require real evidence. But let's imagine the situation from a purely hypothetical perspective. If Hailey did see an old image of Selena on Justin's phone, would getting upset automatically mean she is insecure? Not necessarily. Anyone can experience an unexpected emotional reaction, especially when the person involved is someone who has been connected to their partner for years and whose name continues appearing in public conversations. Being uncomfortable doesn't automatically mean someone wants to control their partner. And seeing an old photo doesn't automatically mean someone is secretly emotionally attached to an ex. There are countless explanations. The problem is that the internet usually chooses the most dramatic one. And with Justin, Selena, and Hailey, dramatic explanations always attract attention. There is another fascinating layer here. Justin himself has changed enormously over the years. The young singer who became famous as a teenager is not the same person he is today. He has experienced enormous fame, intense criticism, relationship changes, personal growth, marriage, and fatherhood. Selena has also changed. Hailey has changed. Their lives aren't frozen in the years when those relationships dominated headlines. Yet online culture sometimes treats celebrities as if they are permanently trapped in old versions of themselves. That's why a picture from the past can suddenly make people behave as if nothing has changed. But everything has changed. And perhaps the healthiest way to look at this entire story is to recognize that people can have complicated histories without those histories controlling their present. Still, one question remains. Why does Selena's name continue to generate such a powerful reaction whenever Justin is involved? The answer is simple. Because millions of people emotionally invested in their story. Fans watched them grow up. They watched the relationship begin. They watched it fall apart. They watched Justin eventually marry someone else. And because entertainment culture is built around stories, people naturally want a conclusion. But real life doesn't always provide the satisfying ending that a movie does. There may never be one final moment where everyone agrees the story is over. Instead, people simply continue living. Justin has his life. Hailey has hers. Selena has hers. And the internet continues trying to connect dots that may not actually be connected. That's why this alleged phone incident should be treated carefully. If Hailey really saw something that made her uncomfortable, that would be a private relationship matter. If she didn't, then the rumor is simply another example of how quickly celebrity speculation can become news online. Either way, there is no reason to turn an unverified claim into a confirmed fact. But there is a bigger lesson here. Celebrity relationships are often judged from the outside using tiny pieces of information. A photograph, a caption, a look, a follow, an unfollow, a song, a comment, and then millions of people create an entire story around it. Sometimes they are right. Sometimes they are completely wrong. And sometimes the truth is far less dramatic than the internet wants it to be. So, did Hailey Bieber really get angry after seeing Selena Gomez images on Justin Bieber's phone? There is currently no reliable public evidence that confirms that specific incident as fact. But the rumor has once again reopened the conversation surrounding one of the most discussed relationship histories in modern celebrity culture. And maybe that's the real headline. Not that an old photo supposedly caused a fight, but that years later, the names Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, and Hailey Bieber can still generate enormous attention from something as simple as a phone image. The past may be history, but in Hollywood, history has a strange way of becoming tomorrow's headline. And until someone directly involved confirms what actually happened, everything beyond that remains speculation. So what do you think? If you discovered an old picture of your partner's ex on their phone, would you immediately be suspicious, or would you simply ask about it before making assumptions? Let me know what you think. And remember, when it comes to celebrity rumors, the most viral version isn't always the most accurate version.